Oh, legs. Oh, the rain's picking up. Well, they're gonna love it. I think I'm gonna sit in the car for a little bit, or at least hang out under this pecan. There we go. That's a little better. Yeah, that little black one that we're tracking there with the limp, that's legs. She had a birth defect, but she gets along pretty well. I do worry about her. Here's the Geese. Hi, ladies. Hi, Anika. Hi, Baywang. Hi, Xingwang. Hi, Emma. Here's Gladys. Gladys is a little miracle girl. She had all her toes curled up under her when she was a gosling, but we put little shoes on her with tape and Raisin Bran box cardboard, and she's totally fine now. Hi, Fritz. Here's Giro. Giro's been laying low with the geese and the ducks. The ducks are actually very accepting. Giro keeps getting beat up by the other roosters, so he's just been hanging out over here for a while. And he goes out and ranges with them, and they all seem to have a good time. Everybody's out here enjoying the rain and worms and whatever else is out there. Maybe they'll move on to the ginkgo leaves, I'm not sure. This is the front lawn of my wife's grandparents' home. It's no longer occupied, but our garden and orchard operation are just over there. But they come over here pretty much every day. And then the geese, clever gals that they are, and boys, will head down the gravel road here. Hey kids. Hi Giro. They'll head down the road here, down just before you get to that little cinder block house down there, and hang a left, and they'll go back into the orchard, and they'll spend a little bit of time back there trying to get the ducks slowly used to going back there, because that is where ultimately they're going to go and range. Those two little chatty guys right there, that's Sonny and Ollie. So we offer our birds free choice on a commercial feed from a local mill here in Virginia. And we also have at least 1 or 2 grains available. Right now we're doing corn and winter wheat, so that is available. And everybody usually loads up on corn just before they go to bed, because as the corn burns off in the night, all those carbohydrates burn off. It really generates a lot of extra heat for the ducks. And the chickens too. Not that the ducks need it. I mean, it's not even below 50 at night here. The ducks will be out swimming when, you know, it's ice and snow on the ground. They do not mind the cold. You know, you want them to have a nice warm place to go when they're all done. So they have nice straw bedding in their duck house, which I'm hoping to renovate. Playground squabble. Looks like Xingwang said something to Margot. I'm not sure what was going on. Or not Margot, maybe Dorothy. Anyhow. But yeah, it's on my schedule for late fall or early winter to completely renovate their houses and move them all into what I'm just referring to as a barn. A much larger facility for all the waterfowl instead of a facility for some geese and a facility for some geese and all the ducks. And I need to make some roosting bars in it for any occasional roosters who hang out with them. Jiro there is not the only rooster who hangs out with them. Actually, Patch, who's over there somewhere, I've seen him a couple times this morning. He's a beautiful black copper Morans that we got. And he had his eye pecked by one of his flock mates, and unfortunately we weren't able to save it. So he's running around over there. Patch is super sweet. Jiro, don't get too far away, guy. Well, little rangers out here. Oh, whoops, dropped my phone. If you're familiar with waterfowl, you probably noticed that I have a mix of both ducks and drakes. The drakes are super horny. I remember when I visited Steve Gabriel's farm up in upstate New York to learn from him, he talked about his wife Elizabeth described them as super rapey, and that has been my experience as well. We probably have too many drakes. I think we've got at least 5. We ordered sexed ducklings that should have all been ducks and no drakes, but you know, sometimes that's just how it happens. But they do perform a good function in terms of in the social unit. They do offer protection. They go out and range with the ladies. So I'm okay with them. I am hoping to add more ducks next year. There's some beautiful, beautiful heritage breeds that I would really like to get from Apricot Valley up in Canada, but that would involve a trip to meet them in Buffalo and pick them up over the border and all that, but that's a long-term project. But mostly I really want Dutch hookbills from there. They're an amazing, old, prolific, and endangered breed. We have Anconas and Silver Appleyards and, oh my gosh, Indian Runners of a couple different varieties. There's no, Golden 300s. There's no Khaki Campbells in our flock. There's Cayugas. They're hatchery Cayugas. They're not, the best quality, unfortunately. Legs, who you saw earlier, is a hatchery duckling. And gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm just drawing a blank on the ducks. There's Buff Orpington ducks. I don't think, gosh, why am I forgetting these? Sorry, it's been so long since I've gone through the inventory of the ducks. Like I said, there's no typical commercial ones. There's no meat ducks. We only do eggs. All our teammates here have lifetime employment. Goose-wise, we have 2 drakes that we know of. Tex, the guy with his neck up right there, he's a cotton patch goose. He was our only drake. And then I impulsively ordered a pair of beautiful saddleback Pomeranians. There's Annika in front and Fritz in the back. At least that's what I've been thinking for the past most of the year. We will see when mating season rolls around, which is which. Might have to switch some names around here. And then we had 2 that were born on the farm, Easter and Noobs. Where are they? That's Easter right there in the foreground, and Noobs is there behind, right in front of Bluebell. But one or both of them could be ganders. Don't know. They were born this spring, so I don't have the skills to sex any of our birds. Well, I can usually tell with chickens with a decent amount of accuracy when they're little. But in terms of, like the professionals who can actually invert the vent and count like internal feathers or feathering and all that stuff, I don't do that. If you don't know what you're doing, you can really hurt your birds. And I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm not going to try. I'm content to just wait and let the magic be revealed. So anyhow, we have at least 2 ganders, possibly 4, but I'm thinking maybe 3. Though next year again, when I want to get those Dutch hook bills from Apricot Valley, I would love to also get an African goose, an African gander from Apricot Valley as well. They have some descended from Gentle Ben, who was a champion raised by David Holderad, and I just think that would be really neat. Before I had geese, I was actually kind of worried about having an animal that large, so I didn't order any Africans. But I can handle Tex, who, granted, Cotton Patch is a small breed, but I feel more comfortable with the geese now. We're not afraid of any of our geese. Some of them will let us pick them up. We might have to do a little bit of chasing to get them. I mean, all of them, if we have to pick them up, we can. None of them are as cuddly as they were when they were goslings, unfortunately, but none of them attack us. Now, I will say, mating season, everybody gets grumpy. Trying to scoop up Tex a couple times. You'd be amazed at how powerful the wings on a goose are. I mean, they're probably 4, maybe even 5 feet or longer when they, fully expand their wings. And I've been whacked in the face more than once, not holding them correctly, not grabbing them the right way in time. And I tell you what, you want to talk about seeing stars. You get whacked in the nose with a goose wing. Man, there's a couple times I was like, I think she broke my nose. It didn't happen though, thankfully. But anyhow, I guess geese are our most dangerous livestock. Maybe the guineas. I haven't really done any videos on the guineas. I'll do that someday. But the guineas they just look wild. They just look feral. And you want to talk about claws. Chickens have, those feet and, their claws and their talons. But, the guineas, I can pick up a chicken and not really worry about getting clawed. They're not that sharp. But, gosh, the guineas are like talons. Holy mackerel. I do not pick up the guineas. Not unless I'm wearing long sleeves and gloves. Alright, so the flock is getting a little spread out. Looks like the geese are sensing it too, because we see ducks way over there. So, let me pick this back up. Keeps falling out of my back pocket. I know this video is going on long. I don't know if anybody's interested in this or not, but not really an agenda here. I'm just kind of being with them and sharing being with them with you. If you have any questions, of course, you can post them in the comments. The rain has let up a little bit, so I can wander out from under the pecan tree shelter. Yeah, see, they're going over this way, which is kind of the long way to get back to the orchard. I wish they would go another way, but, if they're getting there. This is the zoysia grass that my father-in-law has been planting here for years. If you've never walked on zoysia, it's like walking on this amazing, fantastic sponge. It's absolutely awesome. It turns brown in winter, and some people hate that. I think it's cool because it is still super spongy and soft. It's very slow growing, unfortunately, but it's great. And it will outcompete like the wiregrass and stuff, which is really nice. Just takes it some time. Oh, they discovered the ginkgo leaves. I wonder, it may already be past season for fruit on a ginkgo. I don't see any fruit on this. And I can't remember if my father-in-law said that there's ever fruit out here. This is probably a bachelor. Ginkgos are sexed. I think the technical term is dioecious. They're a popular street tree. You may see them in different towns. They're actually one of the oldest trees species around. They go back to like dinosaur days, which I think is kind of cool. Okay, so everybody ran. Well, everybody goose-wise. I don't know if they saw something. I think if they saw something, the ducks would also be a little more concerned. The ducks seem completely unconcerned. And Jiro also. Who knows, sometimes the geese just kind of get a wild hair and run off in a tear like that. There's Legs. Hey, baby. It would really be something to restore this house someday. Turn into, I don't know, farm gift shop or main business office, or you know, just family house again. Coffee is good. Recycled cup, homemade coffee. Hi, Jiro. One of my nieces from China named him. Well, I asked her. I was like, Lorelai, can you tell me what the Chinese word is for rooster? Because Jiro is a Chinese Longshan. And she got back to me because she was learning Mandarin at the time, and she said Jiro is just kind of generic name for chicken or rooster. So I said, well, Jiro he shall be. He's a kind boy. I think he's maybe a little too kind, which is why he gets beat up so often. His poor tail keeps being destroyed. He looks very awkward. He is he's a hatchery bird, and he's a good size. But I also have some blue Chinese Longshans from a local breeder. The size difference is incredible. I mean, Jiro looks like a dwarf, like a pygmy, compared to those boys. They are, I mean, they're like turkeys. They are gorgeous and enormous. One lives with the Mediterranean and Pacific Rims flock. His name is Ciao, C-I-A-O. And another one has been living with the ducks and the geese, and his name is Chow, C-H-A-O. Hi, duckies, hi. Some of the penciled runners, or fawn and white runners. Hi, babies. Ancona's silver apple yards. What the heck are these other ducks? I am embarrassed. Buff Orpington, Cayuga. Cayugas and Orpingtons aren't that rare. Runners I got because they're adorable and they're pretty good layers. Welsh Harlequin, there we go. Gosh, Welsh Harlequin. That other one limping there, that's Phyllis. Phyllis also had a congenital birth defect, and she gets along about as well as Legs. She's actually my mother-in-law, who is a dog and cat vet, has been very helpful in working with the flock with all kinds of things. She's been very generous with her time and expertise, even though poultry is not her specialty at all. She knows nothing about them. But she created a little brace for Phyllis when we noticed she was having trouble, and she worked really hard to actually get her legs underneath her. She was almost like a tadpole, Phyllis was, when we got her, and her little legs were just behind her, and she would just kind of scoot around in the pine shavings bedding. And my mother-in-law came up with a great little system, and we got her legs under her, and now she can walk. You can see her walk. Yeah, it's a little awkward. I try to add lots of cinnamon and red pepper to the feed for both Phyllis and Legs to help with any inflammation. I imagine as they will get older, their joints will give them more and more problems. And I may even decide to house them in a little private run that's not quite as ranging as this, and because they're getting along well, but that doesn't mean that I can't do things to make their lives easier. So anyhow, all right. Well, this is about 20 minutes of me and the birds rambling. I don't know if anyone has found this interesting or ridiculous or helpful or what, but I'm going to go ahead and go. Hey, Jiro. And I'm just going to keep following the kids here and see where everybody's going. All right. I hope you have a great day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Bye.